evening, everyone. My name is Sissy from Sissy's Cards and Crafts. Welcome to my craft room tonight. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ontario, Eastern Ontario, Canada. So welcome. I've done a few videos. I did the one for this paper pumpkin kit. These are kind of the videos I've been doing frequently because they're once a month. But I thought with Valentine's Day, if you have a paper pumpkin kit, maybe you haven't touched it yet, maybe you're like, oh, I want to do something a little different. I came up with some alternatives. Maybe it'll just give you some more something to think about and some more ideas for further cards. Sorry, I just want to grab my ink here. Okay, so put this aside because that's just the box. Well, no, all the good stuff's in that box, so I do need that. But here are the cards. So there was this one that came out that was in here. Let me just pull out the instructions. I need all that good stuff. I don't know why I was thinking I wasn't. Okay, so this one, right? It was the third card created that way. Looked great. The alternative I came up was with this one here. So it has, I didn't put this heart on it, this foiled heart. I didn't use the banner as well, and I didn't use the gems. Rather, I took the base, so underneath there is that red heart. I took that and I stamped with one of the stamps in the kit, "You Have My Heart," and I embossed it. Now, if you don't have the embossing stuff, then you could do that with a coordinating color. Even just black would look great with that, or one of the dark grays. Then I took the hearts. So we've got the hearts here. And what I did for these is in last year's Adorning Hearts, I believe. There, it's still in the catalog. There is a die that will work with a little bit of foil, and so that's what I used. I don't know if I can, you know what, I think it might have been an online exclusive. I do know I've seen it still in available. So, you know, as it is, oh, yes, right here, Adorning Hearts. So it was right here on page 74 in the catalog. There's a little teeny tiny die right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's going to focus. No, it's not going to focus. I apologize. But it was a little tiny die there. And so what I used is some of the foil that was left over when I pulled out a stamp, or a sticker rather. And you know what? I'm not going to be, oh, it's this one here. So we just used the outside part here. So I had this whole gold foil here to use. It might even, some of them might even fit on this L that's left there. Or you could use one of these hearts. Or if you have gold foil, use that. So I cut those out. I did have some extra gold foil, so I popped some in behind here and made a little bit of a background just to kind of make that foil pop a little bit. So, and then I put on a little bit of the red twine. So that was one. The other one I did, so this was what was in the instructions to create. We had all of these hearts that we put on, the pink heart, the red heart, the love sticker across the little banner here, all that. And when I was putting these on, there underneath, there's like a very faint heart to help make sure you got it on straight. I thought, you know what? That would be really cool if you actually did some coloring in behind it. So if you can see, there is some pink in there. There's some pink hearts that I colored. So there. And all I did for that is when all of these were punched out, you can see here's my mask right there. I taped off some hearts, right? A row of hearts, top and bottom, because they are not completely in sync with the way they go on the card. And I just laid that down, kind of following those very faint hearts in the background. And then I used my blending brush, which I just had here a second ago. And now I seem to have misplaced. Oh, yeah. Sorry. So just a blending brush, and I used Pretty in Pink and very faintly colored those hearts in. When I was done one row, I peeled this off, went back to the next, I went up to the next row. And I did that all the way through. And then I laid these other hearts on just like the instructions said, but I just offset it slightly so you could see that pink in there. Before I put them on, I took the heart that was in the stamp set. So we have this little heart here, and I put it on, I believe that was the one. It looks a little big now. No, it wasn't. It must have been in the Adorning Hearts stamp. And I put these hearts on here and emboss them with gold. So again, if you don't have that, you could just color those hearts in with maybe in one of your ink pens. So your Stampin' Write markers or a blend, you just have to kind of draw that heart in and then color that in. But that, just to highlight it, I did stick on one of the little gems there. I also had some gold twine left over from, I believe, a bundle I had at Christmas time. And so I popped that on there because I just thought that looked a little better than the red twine because of the gold that I had. And then, of course, I took that love and stuck it across, just like that one had it. So that was that card. Then, and the kits come with 3 cards, I had enough left over because we're going to do the 3rd card here together. But I had enough left over that I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. So what I did is I took just a real red cardstock. I had some of the lined this here because I'd cut, that was the other thing I did. Yeah. For this card, I actually cut the card in half. So this is a white card is what I did. So I cut that in half. So I had the other half of this card as my extra. And I put that on some real red cardstock. Had some gold foil. I cut that as a mat. But what I did is I cut out, I think I went in about 1/4 of an inch, and I cut this out. So this actually underneath is like a gold frame. And the reason I did that is so when I popped this up with dimensionals, you could see the red underneath there because those are those pop out hearts. Then I took the heart stickers that were there. Let me find them again. I stuck them down and now I'm not going to have them. And I want to, oh, here they are. Okay, so when you pulled this one up, see how there's gold left there, gold ring? I cut that out and I just use that sticker on here. And the same thing for this one. So when you pull this up, there's a gold and I just cut that out. Slow and steady wins the race, and stuck that in there for some gold. And then again, from that Adorning Hearts embossing, it has a hybrid embossing folder. You can cut out and emboss little gold hearts. So I had that as well. And then I did use one of the red hearts that was for what kit was it? Oh yeah, for this one, right? Because we didn't use the red heart, we used the pink one. So that red heart was left, and that's what I stuck on there. So I like that. I'm debating on whether to put any sort of ribbon on there. I don't think so. I think it's busy enough, and I like some cards just without a sentiment on the front. Obviously this is a Valentine's card, so just inside I put "You Have My Heart" and use the heart stamp to put a nice red heart there. And so that was my kind of my extra card that I got out of the set. So I did the 3 cards as they were to be done. I have done 3 alternatives plus the extra. And then I have enough to do that again. So let's put an extra together. This, I saved this because this was kind of my favorite out of them. I thought it was really, really cool, fun to do. I was watching a demonstrator, and I can't remember, I meant to look up her name, and I'm sorry. I think it was Stampin' Klompers is her name. And so I had thought, well, she did a great fun fold, and I wanted to try it for this. So this was what was in the kit to do. We had this nice pearl, marble rather, card base with this white one, and that's where we did the extra. And just, I did have to cut that down a little bit for that extra card. But that's aside. We're going to use this for this alternative. And we, of course, use some of the stickers. I believe we're going to use a sticker like this. We're going to use some gems as well for that. Okay, so that's kind of, we didn't do this one. The alternative that we did is this one. So again, it's a fun fold. And we've got this here, and it opens up. Isn't that cool? So we've kind of got this accordion-like fold here, this mini card sort of idea here, and then I stuck that gold foiling in here. I put my sentiment here just because if I start putting stuff here, you're going to notice it. And I think that's where I would write to that. Or you could always use the back, but I thought that would look really cool just sitting on a mantle. You could open it right up. So how to do that? So the stuff that we need, I did add a couple extra things, which I'm gonna have to, I think, grab. Well, I've got some right here. Oops, I think. So again, I'm going to what we had last year for the for that suite. So the Adorning Heart suite. We had all this paper. I believe some of it's kind of come back in different shades. I could be wrong, but I still have oodles of it left over, as you can see. And I believe this was kind of the inspiration for this whole suite because it looks very much the same. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the one that I used. It's right here. So I used this kind of waterfall sort of hearts was the one that I used. I had a pink, a white card base. And then I did have some gold foil. Now, I don't have the foil, the Stampin' Up! Foil. I've run out of it. So I do have some stuff I had got here at a local store, just a small pack of foil, but it is that champagne color. So it kind of blends a little bit better. So we're going to use that with it. All right. So these are our pieces here. I'm going to just stick this kind of aside, and we're going to get ready to cut this. So what I need is my card base that is going to be 11 by 5.5. So we have 8.5 by 11. So we're going to use this whole width, and then we're going to do that 5.5, which is our standard size card. So make sure it's in your trimmer. When I started to use trimmers, this one, I've said time and time again, is great because it gives me a full edge to butt up against there. I can cut in my ruler. I'm not just cutting to one side, so I can steady it better. And I'm going to meet that 5.5. And you'll note they've got 5.5, which is that common mark that we're always going to. But then it matches up with this line all the way down here. So it makes it so quick and easy to be like, okay, that's where I want. I don't even really have to measure it. I just have to look for that line. As long as that arm is down, I'm good. The other thing is, I've always been I always want to push my blade up. If I had my blade here and pulled down, I could shift my paper. So I always want to push up, or if I had my paper butted down here, then I would pull down. I hope that makes sense. All right, so I am going to have to pull the arm out for this to do the scoring. My cutting blade is up out of the way, so now my scoring is 1 3/4. So this is going to do that zigzag or accordion fold here. And this is the thick white cardstock, so I can do a good score. But be cautious with some of the thinner stuff. I was just doing a project tonight and ripped some DSP. I didn't want to, but I just was used to pushing my scoring blade a little bit harder, and I pushed it right through the DSP. All right, so 1 3/4, 3.5 was what I just did. Now I'm at 5 1/4, and then 7, and 7 will basically be that fold. So where we're folding our card. All right, I'll tuck that aside. So now I'll get the bone folder, and this is where our card is gonna be the card. Right, then I'm gonna just zigzag this back and forth. So just kind of look at how your card is going and just give that a good crease. Okay, and then let's stick it this way. Let me double check. Yep, perfect. Sorry, I just kind of had a moment there where I was thinking, what was I doing? All right, so then that is how our card is going to look, and it's going to open up like this. The other thing we needed was that this part here, and guess what? This is pretty much that size, right? So 3x6 is what we want, because this is like a 3x3 card. So pull my blade down, and I want to come over to 6. And the other thing too is 6, I'm measuring up here, but it's also butting right against this edge. As long as this blade is down, I can just shove that right over, and it's good to go. So push it up against the top and cut it. I struggled with these things for a long time. I could never have one that really cut straight. And I think that was a big part, is that it would just butt up over here, not up here. And it just didn't give me the structure that I needed. Whereas this one I find really works well. Okay, so there is that little piece. So those are 2 bases. Now we want all of our DSP, and you'd be amazed at how quick this comes together. So our DSP just insets a little bit, and we want that at 1.5 by 5 1/4. So this is the whole length. So right now I'm just going to take and do this at 5 1/4, this hole. So I know I'm at the right, and I don't have to do each one individually, just one cut rather than a bunch of off cuts. You could keep that to trim the inside of your card, whatever you might of another card, the envelope. You know, get creative. Okay, so then we want 1.5. So come to 1.5 and cut. And so just to double check before I go any further, that's kind of where we want to have it, just like that. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, right? I did put 1 on the inside. Yeah, 4 of them. So 1, the second one, 1.5. And then we're going to have, this is not quite 1.5. So I'm just going to flip it and do my 1.5 on from this side. And again, 1.5. Pull that blade down. smaller your paper gets, the more I find it's important to really push your blade up against that paper and not pull down, because if I pulled down, I could knock that. So what I'm left with here is 1 1/4. So that is where what I put here on either side. You can't really tell that they're not quite the same width, but if we use it, it will give us something nice there. So what I'm going to do is just put that score line right in the track there. Again, pull my blade down, make sure that's up nice and tight. I should be able to see the score line in the groove there. And then I'm just going to cut it. And now I've got the 2 pieces there. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So what I want to do is now start putting this together. So I'm going to grab my glue. And don't get these too mixed up. I'm just going to hold these shorter ones, put them off to the side, and use these 4. Now you might be tempted and think, oh, I want to make sure I line this up so I can see the pattern throughout. Really, the pattern isn't that intense. It's fluid, right? It's just this marble look, so you don't need to worry about that. And because of the way we cut it, it's not going to match up because we came from both sides, right? We didn't just go make one continuous cut. And I think doing it this way is just going to have them stand out a little bit more rather than make it all look like one. Right? With this Tombow all-purpose glue, multi-purpose glue rather, it is really good. A little bit is all you need. These last quite a long time. And just really, I tend to go on the perimeter. I don't stick a whole lot in the middle unless it's a large piece or it's embossed. Then I want to make sure I kind of get extra there. But there we go. Before I put these other 2 pieces on, what I want to do is take my blending brush, put a lid on my glue, and a spare piece of paper here. Okay, just a piece of copy paper. Then I'm going to get, and I use the Pretty in Pink ink. There is some colors. I think this is Flirty Flamingo. I don't have that one. But you know what? I'm just going to use this very faintly. So what I'm going to do is put some ink on my blending brush, take a lot of it off, and then come in here, and I don't need to worry about the edges because my strips are going to go there, but I want to just kind of come in and very, very lightly brush it on. You can always add more, but you can't take it off. So we're just going to come down here and get more on, pick it up. This is one thing where the glass mat, if I was doing this right on the glass mat, I could put this ink on and then actually pick it up off the glass mat studio. And that makes it where I don't have to waste so much ink. And you'll notice I kind of did a bit of a boo-boo here. Not real big problem. But as I hit that edge, I kind of put a lot of ink there. The cut edges will just really absorb it. Plus I'm pushing against it. And so then that kind of just maybe adds a little bit that I didn't want to add, but no big problem. I can either just take my snips and cut that off, or I could just do it all through. But the reason I'm doing this is because I found the heart that I'm putting on just didn't look right. The white was too stark beneath it. So I've just put a nice faint, and you can barely see it, but it's just a faint strip there. You can kind of see that added line there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Like I say, if I really was anxious about it, I could just kind of take my snips and try to cut some of it off very carefully like that. Just pull it off, and that's not quite as harsh. All right. To clean your blending brushes, well, I've got a pink one, orange one, green one, and then I just clean them off between like that, so I know pretty much that color's off of there. And then that's my pink one, so when I use any pinks, I come back to that. Oh, I was going to use it for this other part too. Okay, so this middle card here opens opposite. So this here, I also did a little bit of a blending, just again to add a little bit of color, because I found it was just a little stark. You could do another piece of paper here and stamp on it, but you're going to start getting really thick, and I don't really want it so thick. So I just kind of thought if I put like a little cloud of pink in there, that would just help pick up that color. Okay, I'm not quite done with that ink, but I am going to close it up, just tuck it away. All right, so now we can put these on, and I did pick up a bit of that edge there, so I'm just going to put this down and ever so slightly try to just cut that edge off. There we go. Just where the, oh, I think I made it worse. Just where that score line was. It didn't quite cut the way I wanted. So, old school here. I'm bringing out the old long scissors and cutting it. So I just kind of trimmed that edge off there. And I put that here. Actually, the edge I'm not so happy with. I'm going to put there. And where's my other piece? I had two pieces. Oh, right under the card. Oh, you're tired when things like that start happening. Okay, so these are going to go on. And one of the reasons I really like this card is it is a bit of cutting, but really it's not that difficult because I had just one piece that I had to cut, a few cuts on, that was it. Kind of a little bit glob of glue there that I didn't want to get. I think this one is almost at its end. All right. The other thing with this Tombow glue that is really, it sticks really well, works really good, cleans up easy. You do have some wiggle room. So as I put this on, I've got a little bit of time to move it around just to make sure it's in the right spot. And I'm trying to get all my edges even, so they're pretty much equal distance from everybody. Okay. But if I was to, the other positive or nice thing about the glue is if I let it sit to dry, it doesn't really dry. It becomes clear and still tacky. And so it makes it nice, because then when I go to stick something on, it's just tacky. It's not that it's going to really start oozing out all over the place. Okay, so this is the part we want to do here now. I'm just going to cut this gold foil and then this other piece. Keep in mind, these are extras. If you don't have it, you could just go around and do another nice pink cloud on this side. That's fine. But I'm just going to stick with this because I've got the paper and I want to use it up. So this is a 3x3 square. all the rest of them, I went in 1/4 of an inch. So I had 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So if this is 3, I'm going to do 2 3/4. Measure it up there, cut it, and 2 3/4. And then that's going to give me that gold mat there. Now, I didn't, so this is that kind of 1/8 of an inch all the way around. This is just a 1/16 of an inch, so it's much, much smaller. So I'm going to continue with that. And so if that was 2 3/4, I want to just come down 2/16 or 1/8 of an inch. Down there, and cut that. And then the same thing here. So 2 3/4, and I'm just coming back that 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And so then it just gives me a finer border around there. And then I have my white there. So it's just kind of a little bit of a technique. So this is where if I let this glue sit on here just a little bit, it will dry but still stay sticky, and would be beneficial for me to do that if I was doing this quite a bit, because this glue can take a little bit to stick to the gold, and if it smears, then you see it and you're kind of in trouble. So if you're worried about it smearing, then let it get tacky before you completely stick it together. But doing that, you lose a little bit of that wiggle room that you might want to have. Okay, so there's that. Keep in mind again that, see, I've got glue here on my mat. With the Glass Mat Studio, you get Glass Mat Studio. That means is glass measuring stamping board underneath. You get a chamois. I just keep it in an old DVD case to keep it moist. You get this lovely little I believe it's not latex, silicone, and it's a non-skid surface. So I just kind of, as you can see, keep everything there, but it's helpful when you want to put your pad there. It will keep it from sliding out around. But I just kind of, that's the catch-all for me. Okay, so then this is going to go on here. Heart's going to go there. But before I do that, I should think about doing this stamping here. So I took the stamps that are in the set right here, and I used this heart and the love you. So what we're going to do with this heart is we're going to use the same ink, this Pretty in Pink, but I'm going to stamp off so it's faint, and you can see it's quite faint. And then I used the black to stamp in front of it. So I'm going to take my stamp. I always, if you've watched me stamp before, I always like to do a practice one. So there's my stamp, ink it up, give it a good once, check it out, make sure it's all good. So now this time I'm going to stamp it up, or ink it up rather, really good. And I'm just going to do a quick stamp. It's not a perfect stamp that I just did, but when I come in here, I'm going to line this up, make sure it's even. And then I'm going to stamp. So now that's going to give me a more, less prominent, a more faint heart there. Not the best stamping job there. I apologize. It doesn't look the greatest, but it is there. I could just come in with my blending brush and blend it a little bit more while that ink is wet, and just kind of fade it down a little bit. That helps a little bit. All right, so then I want to clean it off. Give it dry. And then I'm going to put it back on its something on there. Piece of paper. All right, always put things back. That way you're not going to lose them. Now, the Love You I did in black, or Memento black. And you have to be cautious when you do two words like this. A lot of times you might be tempted to just stack them on your block, but because we have a gap, you're going to have too big of a gap. I don't mean a gap, but here's your ridge that's going to stamp, and then there's that edging of the stamp to make it more substantial. And that's quite a space for me to do that. I'm actually going to do U first, just so I can center. It's easier to center the U because it's only 3 letters. Okay, so I've got it on. Again, I'm going to do kind of a practice one. Make sure everything's good. There's no fuzzies or anything on it. All right, my head's probably going to come in and I'm going to center it and go down. The photopolymer stamps are great for doing stuff like this because you can see right through. And if you have to come back in and redo it, you can. Oddly enough, there we go. Look at that. That never happens that easily to come back and do it good. All right, so we've got You done. Now Love. I know not everybody does a trial run, but that's just me. I always want to do a double check. Okay, so I'm just going to actually pull this down a little bit further. Center that Love over the U. And if you can see what I'm seeing now as it's sitting there, the edge of the stamp, the part of it that's not carrying ink, is touching the Y. So if I had put them both on at the same time, I just would have had way too much space there for it to look any. What I'm doing over here is cleaning my stamps. A new product I've got is our Stamp and Scrub. You can get the Stamp and Mist. You can just use water, but you can just mist it. There's a wet side. It's denoted by little raindrops up here. You rub your stamp on it, and then you come over with the dry side and dry it off. The Stampin' Cleaner here, it also conditions your stamps so they stay newer longer. It's really good for the red rubber stamps, but you can use them for the cling stamps as well, or the photopolymer stamps. Okay, so we've got that all ready to go there. Bring our card base back in. I'm going to glue this down. And now what we did for the pink heart that is going on this, that's kind of this pink leopard print heart that we're putting on. So here we go. I just made that crooked. This is where the glue helps. I just looked away to see how long we've been online or doing this, and I spun it, but because I used the glue, I could pick it up and move it. Okay, so now that's done. It's going to go like this. Remember, it's backwards, and we're going to position it here. Actually, I'm going to do that first before I do adhere the pink heart onto that. Which one is it? Why can't I find it? So I'm going to use those. Put everything in this box, and of course, there it is, right there. I'm going to put that on dimensionals. But right now, I want to just kind of center this. So what I'm going to do is position it where I want it. Okay. And just kind of visualize, I want to stay within that kind of 3/4 of an inch there. So I'm going to hold it, open that up. Now I'm going to make sure this is straight. So I'm just going to pull the whole card to the bottom of my Glass Mat Studio here, run it even across, and then I want to make sure this center card is also even, because when I put it on the last one, it was kind of a little crooked. So I want to make sure I'm not doing that. Yeah, visually I think it's going to be all right. Okay. So I just want to put that glue on here. Now I might put a little bit more than I normally would. So I'm not going to just go around the edges. I'm going to actually put some on there. And then we're going to close it. So again, make sure it's all straight, looks good. Get my head in the shot to actually see. Maybe I didn't. All right, I'll hold that down. Now open it up. Don't open it right up the accordion way. Just open it up like this and do the same thing. So we can put that glue on here. Okay, and then close it up. Give it a good hold. Okay, so now that will open all the way up like that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So cool and so easy. So this one here, and we're just going to take some dimensionals and we're going to pop that on there. I think this is a good one, like I say, for a mantle to sit on. It will stay flat after it's sat flat for a while, especially if it's going to go in an envelope. You might want to, if you're mailing this, you want to make sure that there's not going to be any added fees. There very well could be with this one for the width of it, or throw it in a package if you're sending somebody some treats. Then maybe you're going to just throw it in a package and you don't have that. You'll be paying for the package, not the card. Okay, so then we're going to take this fancy one here. We're going to pop it out. Smooth down those lovely little edges there. Now this one, like I said earlier, this kit, or before rather, when we put it together, this kit actually came with dimensionals that are medium-sized dimensionals, which are kind of unique. But this is where it really comes in. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to even skip the medium and I'm just going to do mini dimensionals here. So I'm going to pull out my mini dimensionals. And because they're so small, I'm just going to get my take your pick tool and get under them and then come and put them. So wherever you've got some space to affix them, like the back of the hearts, then do that and see where they're placed and where you need some extra supports. And you want to make sure you're not going to be able to see them from the front. So just kind of monitor that. Now there's a spot, I kind of want some here. I am going to put one there just to be safe because I'm going to put those gems inside. But I do want something here. I want something over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just trim them. I'm going to come down the side. So I'm just cutting off this edge, getting something really fine. The kit actually said you can cut your dimensionals in half, which you could. Nothing wrong with that. But why not use the edge of it, right? That's not garbage. That's all good product. Just it's not the shape that you're used to. So make it the shape you want. Make sure I can't see that from the front. Good, good, good. Do a second one. And I'm going to pop that over here. There, like that. Okay. And maybe a couple more here. So, I am talking to myself. I apologize, but you know, sometimes you need to be told what to do. You're not even seeing what I'm doing here. So all I'm doing is taking these little strips I cut and I'm putting them in these spaces here, double checking that I'm not able to see them from the other side. All right, one more. I think I'm going to put it here. Oops, wrong side. Thought I had the dimensional, but I had the sticky. And you know what? Better safe than sorry. I'm going to pop another one here on this heart, even though it seems like it's quite close. I'm going to make it go there. Okay, so now take all the backings off. Come on. All right, I think that's all of them. Garbage. Ah. My hands are sticky. Okay, so now I want to take this and, you know, keep in mind I like it behind that. So, but if I center it, we're pretty much right there. So now it's down a little bit. Let's see if I can move it up just a smidge. I don't really want to do it, but I think I gotta. Okay, so come up here. There we go. Yeah, so now there's a little edge there, but I'm happy with that. Okay, so now the last couple things. One, I was just going to use one of these stickers just to stick here in this corner, just to give a little bling there. Then I used these little gems, which are so, so sweet. It would be amazing if we had these to purchase. But, you know, I've seen that happen before where something is in Paper Pumpkin and then we have it come. Ah! I thought I was ahead of the game on that one, but I wasn't. Take your pick tool is really handy when it works properly. So what I'm doing here is the putty end, and my putty, that's part of my problem. It's kind of gooped up there. I'll put it back properly. The putty picks up, especially if you slide, your little gems, and then I can position it and stick it down. If I needed to adjust it, I can just move it with the sharp end. So take your pick tool. Really, really handy. I thought I wouldn't need one. I went about a year without one. Bought an off-brand one that I was like, either these things are useless or this one's useless. And I found out the off-brand really didn't have the gumption this one has. So there we go. That then will fit in an envelope to be sent. You could put it in a white envelope if you wanted. And away you go. If you really wanted to, you could take some twine and tie around there, but you'll find that if you stick it in the envelope, it will stay. It'll stay flat pretty well. but it is going to give you that added thickness, especially with the dimensionals where they are. So it's kind of should be okay, but don't hold me to it. All right, so that is the extras for, or the alternatives rather, for January's Paper Pumpkin. I will be coming on hopefully a lot more frequently. That is my goal. This is the celebrations to the end of the month. So free product. For every $70 you spend, you get a selection of free product. There's a whole little catalog about it. I had one right here. So celebration. They've added to it. So this is just part of it. If you go online, you'll see all sorts more. So there's stamp sets. We're going to play with that stamp set soon. There was this kit. We put that together, the free kit. Paper. This is 6x6 fruit salad paper. Lovely little seagull stamp set. Starstruck embossing folder. So we've got that to play with as well. It's really cool. Another word or sentiment stamp. Some more Toadstool Gardens 6x6 paper fun. I've got some of that we've played with. This gorgeous ribbon. So the embellishments. There's another stamp set, Pick a Season, which is a tree. These are all online as well. Just when you go to stampinup.ca, you see, or my page, Sissy's Cards and Crafts, Stampin' Up. You'll see celebration right off the bat. Just click on it and see all of it. So again, more stamp sets, more paper. This is the one I was going to. So if you do kind of, so it's free with every $70, is it? 75, you get something free. With $150, you can get this bundle. So it's both things. And that's what I've got here. So heart-shaped, you get these lovely stamps. So the heart, you get some sentiments, some flowers, and then you get the dies as well. So really quite fun. Sorry, those are the different set of dies. These, of course, come in another folder. I just like to keep them together so they're all set. There's a nice banner die, some flowers, flower petals, some leaves, a little sprig. This cuts out those 3 flowers. And then this gorgeous heart cutout. So that is what I want to play with tomorrow. And this is the card that we'll be doing. So I'm going to come online tomorrow, probably around 8 our time. And so for Eastern Ontario. And this is the card we're going to do. We're going to use some of the paper, some online exclusives paper. And both sets are with a Blackberry Bliss background. Then this is a Spotlight on Nature dies. These have been around for a while, but everybody's in love with them. They're circles, but you have 3 different patterns that can go on them. And you have a set of, how many is in the set? 12 dies. So oodles of them. They do look the same at first glance, but then you've got 3 different patterns. Like I say, there's lines. There's like this, this one I used here. And then another kind of a dashed stitching around it. So radiating stitching and dash stitching. And then this lovely little, can't think of the name of this right now. So this is the one we're going to use. Here's the heart stamps. This is an amazing die that's sitting on top of it with this Spotlight on Nature. This ribbon is still available last I checked. It's been something around since the catalog last year. And then on the inside here, I did another die cut that I glued down. My thoughts of you are all heart-shaped, and then a nice little border here. So I did this pink one, we're going to do a bluish hued color one tomorrow. So come back tomorrow and we will do another card. The other thing I wanted to point out, so again, there's another bundle here that you can get, Corner and Bloom. Actually, it's not a bundle. It's just quite a unique stamp set, but it's a higher level order. The last thing I want to mention is becoming a demonstrator. If you're seeing all this stuff and you're like, oh man, that's lovely, it's amazing, I'd love to be able to do that, and you want to purchase some stuff, the best deal always is become a hobby demonstrator. Hobby demonstrator is just somebody that gets a discount. To become a demonstrator, you normally you pay $135 and you order $165 worth of product. That's the way it works. However, during celebration, you get extra. It's the best time. So you can get for your 135, that's what you pay. You order your $165 of product, plus you can get either you can get 2 Stampin' Write markers, sets of markers, which are quite a good deal. It's saying it's $129 value for all of that, but the Stampin' Write markers, not sure if they've got them set in the catalog. I'm not 100% familiar with the catalog. Here they are here. So they are, you can buy all of them for 180. So there's 40 markers. There's 10 markers in each. And they come in the different colors. So you get your brights, your subtles, your regals, those colors here. And the Stampin' Write markers are basically our inks in marker form. So they're really, really good for those spots where you might not catch the right. You can kind of fill it in, or you can just stamp with them. You can actually put the color right on the stamp and stamp that way. So we might try to do a little bit with them tomorrow just to show you, or you can simply color with them or write with them, whatever you want. But you get, for your $135, you get to order whatever you want out of the catalog as long as your total is no more than $165. And then added to that, you can get 2 sets of the Stampin' Write markers, plus this handmade design stamp set. That's the only way you can get the stamp set, is by becoming a demonstrator. If you're like, you know what, I don't want the markers, not worried about the stamp set, then you can just get another $41 worth of product. So for $135, you get $206 worth of product. So you can just open a catalog and get it. Then what does that mean? Then it means you are now a hobby demonstrator. You can order whatever you want at 20% discount. You get access to stuff early as it releases early. We have a month to see it, get our hands on it, play with it before it is available to the public. And you are good for 6 months. Then after 6 months, you have to make, I believe it's $400 a quarter you have to pay to remain that as a hobby demonstrator. If you don't, you lose the demonstrator status. You buy stuff at regular price and nothing's really changed. If, however, you decide you really like it and you want to sell, then selling is something you can always do, but that is not a lot of the demonstrators are hobby demonstrators. Anyway, send me an email, chat if you want to talk more about that. And thank you for joining, and we shall see you tomorrow. I'm hoping again around 8:30 our time I will be on, and that is going to be February 11th. All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye.